This slide is a technological representation of one of my whiteboard art masterpieces. We are now going into some of the reasons for Christian growth. This busy slide represents an early reason for Christian growth, that being status inconsistency and status reversal. It is also sad that you can't see my artwork and arting, but let's try to make sense of this slide. The context is the Roman Empire before the destruction of the Jewish temple in 70 CE. There are three different settings. On the left is an individual who is living in a shack and who drives a broken down vehicle, or let's say a chariot. He is a Joe Sixpack or Joe Dirt fellow, but he happens to be a Roman citizen, just one who doesn't have much education or style. On the right side is a representation of the Jewish temple, so you can imagine a Pharisee or Sadducee types at the temple holding on to the Jewish tradition. In the center you see a gentleman with a very nice home and a nice ride. He's dressed much nicer than Joe Sixpack to his left. Even though it appears that he has so much going for him, he doesn't look happy. He's heard that Joe Dirt is having a cookout with lots of beer and food. Maybe this successful gentleman can stop by and have fun. He gets to the cookout, and guess what? Joe Dirt has beer, but only has pork chops and pork hot dogs for food. Well, our well-to-do gentleman can't eat there. Are you guessing what religion he happens to be? Very good, you smart young things. He is a Jew that follows the kosher regulations. He just happens to be a Jew out there in the Roman Empire. I wonder who has the higher status, the wealthy Jew or the Joe Dirt Roman citizen? You guessed it. The Roman citizen has a higher status even though his home and chariot don't show it. On the right side, you notice the Big Rat's Passover. That was a funny episode, by the way. It's time for Passover, so many Jews throughout the empire can go to Jerusalem to celebrate that significant observance. So our wealthy Hellenized Jew travels to Jerusalem to be with his fellow Jews. When he gets to the temple, the smiles of the Pharisee and Sadducee types turn to frowns. They have a problem with this Jew, feeling he is not orthopraxed or Jewish enough. Wow, what a squeeze. Status inconsistency, where one's status doesn't fit the circumstance. He experienced the strictures of social structure, I used to call it. It would be like the muscular and got game professor you have gotten used to were to go to Alabama in the 1940s. He had his PhD and was hungry. I go to a restaurant, walk into the front door, and the people without a high school education in the restaurant look at me with scorn. I'm told to go to the back. If we were in the classroom, I would draw a nice picture of Jesus with long flowing hair and a beard. You can just swipe or hit the space bar and a picture of Jesus will appear on the slide. Don't be shocked. This is how some scholars argued that Jesus might have appeared. It was one of those Science and the Bible documentaries. But however Jesus looked, I have talked about some of his ideals. Might the notion of going beyond lunchroom love be attractive to the Hellenized Jew? Many of these Hellenized Jews felt a new communitas, a Latin term for radical community, or what Peter Brown has described as a fellow feeling.